Alrighty. Welcome back to another one of my short Skyblock speedruns. In today's video, I speedran for skill average 5, but I threw myself the extra challenge and made it so I had to get level 5 in every main skill. This run of course excludes all the cosmetic skills being carpentry, rune crafting, and the social skill, as well as dungeoneering since that's relatively unachievable on a fresh profile. Also, if you weren't already aware, I do stream these speedruns live over my Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so if that is something that does interest you, the links are down in the description below. But with all that being said, let's get straight into the video. Jumping straight into a new profile here, the first thing that I did of course was to break an oak log on my island. Doing this gives me a little bit of wood to get started with the entire speedrun, and because I was going to need to level up my foraging skill and my mining skill, I was going to have to craft both a golden shovel and a golden axe in order to actually acquire the materials. For those who have been following these videos for some time now, I always use the sand trick to level up my mining skill, as digging sand is one of the most efficient ways to level up your mining skill early on, and it requires pretty much no materials at all. Nonetheless, after grabbing my rogue sword, I actually did something different this time and went over to the farming merchant and bought a rookie hoe, and then with that rookie hoe, I got started mining some nether wart instead of farming all the wheat that I normally farm at the start of my runs. Now you may be wondering, why did I switch to nether wart after farming wheat after so many previous speedruns? And the reason for that is because nether wart grants alchemy XP. Now because this speedrun is to of course achieve level 5 in every single main skill, I had to level up my alchemy in some way, and I figured rather than trying to unlock recipes for potions, it would actually be a lot easier if I just used the nether wart on the hub islands and I swapped lobbies over and over again until I was able to level my alchemy that way. I also wanted to get started with alchemy first because netherwart actually sells for decent money, and with that money I was going to be able to buy a pet because I was going to have to level up my taming skill as well, and for this speedrun I was going to choose the bee pet, but I'll talk about that a little bit later. Needless to say, I ended up getting telekinesis on my rookie hoe pretty early on here, as I was able to go over to the enchantment table and just get it off of that instead. Normally I do go to the gold mine after leveling my mining skill up, and we go to rusty and do it the old fashioned way, but I figured it'd be a lot easier to just do it on the hub island and get it off the enchanting table instead, and with telekinesis on my rookie hoe, I went back over to the netherwart area and just kept on farming wart. Now I did a little bit of harvesting here, so one of my viewers actually pointed out that I should get harvesting 5 on my rookie hoe, because if I did that I would get more netherwart, which means I would get both more money and more XP. So I went over to the librarian again and I tried to enchant my hoe with harvesting 5, but then I realized that I wasn't able to do that at the enchanting table. That left me with pretty much no choice but to go back over to the wheat fields and just dig a whole bunch of wheat until I got the recipe for harvesting. And then once I had that recipe, I sold all the spare materials I got over to the farming merchant. I bought some sugarcane in order to craft the paper I was going to need, and then went back over to the librarian again to buy some enchanting bottles, and I just splashed as many as I could to get as many levels as possible. I did fall short in XP and I didn't have enough money to buy any more in order to actually get harvesting on my rookie hoe, so then I went back to the hub, I did a little bit more lobby swapping, harvested a bit more netherwart, and once I came back with some more money, I bought the rest of the XP that I needed, and then I put harvesting 5 on my rookie hoe. Now the other thing that's also really important to note here is that while harvesting 5 was going to help me level up my alchemy skill, it also helped level up a different skill, which if you didn't notice, I ended up getting enchanting to level 3. Now I did have a plan to get my enchanting skill leveled up pretty high without actually putting harvesting on my rookie hoe, but after realizing that I did level up my enchanting here a little bit, I realized it was going to be much easier to level my enchanting skill later on in the speedrun, so I kind of killed 2 birds with 1 stone here, and overall it was a pretty worthwhile investment. However, with my rookie hoe enchanted and ready to go, I did a little bit more lobby swapping and netherwart farming until I had some more money in my pockets, and that's when I realized I should be trying to get my bee pet now. So after one of my lobby swaps, I went over to the merchant area and I bought enough gold and coal to craft myself a gold block and a coal block, and then followed that up with a few more lobby swaps until I was able to have enough money for the bee pet. After that, I of course went over to Bee, the NPC, got myself a common bee pet, equipped that thing, and then got started with farming more netherwart. Now you may be wondering, why did I choose the bee pet and why have I picked a pet at all? And the reason for that is of course the taming skill. Now because I need to level up my taming skill throughout the entirety of this run, since I am leveling up so many other skills in the process, it'd be a lot easier for me if I just got the bee pet as early as I could, had it equipped, and then just got started with taming as early as possible. And the reason I chose the bee pet was because it's probably one of the easiest, if it isn't the easiest pet to get on Iron Man. And because I didn't need anything crazy, I didn't need a legendary pet, rare, I didn't need an epic one, I didn't need one that gives me more XP, I just needed a pet to give me some extra taming levels. I figured, may as well go with a common bee pet. It's super cheap, super inexpensive, I can get one right off the start, and it would get me started early on with the taming skill. But after doing so, I finally got back to farming as much netherwort as I could. This is where I did a lot more lobby swapping and it was a lot more of a direct and continuous grind. And after a few minutes, I finally reached Alchemy level 5, where I went over to the merchant area to sell some materials and buy some items. So after I sold my huge harvest of netherwort, which put me at around 10,000 coins in my purse, I went to the merchant area to buy 6 efficiency books and 4 golden ingots. As I mentioned earlier on in the speedrun, I had to craft myself a golden axe and a golden shovel, and then I went over to the blacksmith area and enchanted the shovel with efficiency 2 and the axe with efficiency 3. Now you may be wondering why I picked efficiency 2 and then efficiency 3 on a completely different tool, and that's because efficiency 2 is like the threshold for insta mining sand. You don't need anything higher than that, so I'm not going to go overkill with a really high efficiency shovel, as not only does it cost me more money to get all the materials, but it also takes a lot more time to actually enchant the shovel, and I want to keep the speedrun as quick as possible. It's pretty much the same story with wood. There is no way to insta-mine wood without having a haste potion and really high efficiency levels, and because of that, I figured efficiency 3 is like a really good middle ground. It gives me some speed where I can mine wood a little bit faster than no enchant at all, but it's also not too fast in the sense that it's not going to take me too much time to put the levels on my axe. And I wouldn't spend too much time actually enchanting it, so overall keeping the run more efficient. Needless to say, I took these tools with me through the barn and to the mushroom desert, where I got started mining sands to level up my mining level. Now of course, mining sand, my favorite part of pretty much every speedrun I have done. Mining sand easily has to be one of the best things you can do as an early game player for pretty much anything. Not only does it give you really easy mining levels, but it gives you some pretty decent money, and I actually ended up leveling my taming skill as well, just from leveling up the bee pet from doing a little bit of sand mining. I got mining 5 in no time, where I went back to the hub to sell my materials and get started on the combat skill. So as per usual, I went back over to the merchant area, sold the materials that I didn't need, and then I went to the weaponsmithing merchant to buy an undead sword, and then talked to Rosetta to buy some iron armor. I then went back to the librarian to buy some more XP bottles and then 16 Smite 1 books, and then I enchanted my undead sword with Smite 5. And now that I was fully decked out and ready to go, I made my way to the graveyard to get my combat skill leveled up, and after a little bit of killing here, I ended up getting my taming skill also to level 2. It was a pretty nice surprise considering that I didn't realize I was that close to leveling my taming skill already, but I did a little bit of farming here and killed a whole bunch of zombies, though I did run into a little bit of a mishap here with the zombie villagers. Annoying, because they have slightly more health. Probably because of that leather armor they're wearing. Oh, don't gank me that hard. Oh, I might die. I don't want to lose all my money. That's, yeah. Great work, bro. Great work, Gabriel. You're insane. I don't even need my money. And after that unfortunate death and time sink onto accidentally going to the Birch Park, I did recover pretty easily and went back over to the graveyard. It was already daytime by the time I did that, so I didn't have to deal with any more zombie villagers, and all in all got combat 5 in pretty much no time at all. With the combat skill completely done and out of the way, I once again went back over to the hub for probably the 4th or 5th time now. I sold the remaining materials I had, and I bought a Magnet 1 fishing rod from the fishing merchant. Now this is definitely new to me in a lot of my speedruns. I haven't done any fishing in any speedrun before, and I also would have never thought that I would have found a purpose for the Magnet 1 fishing rod that the fishing merchant actually sells you. But either way, it saved me some time from actually having to craft a fishing rod and getting all those materials myself. So I took that bad boy over to the librarian again, and this is the plan that I had in mind to actually level my enchanting skill. So if you didn't already know, the only way to level your enchanting skill if you aren't enchanting level 10 yet is to just enchant items, whether it be combining books together or putting books on certain gear, or even just enchanting gear in an enchantment table. You have to enchant something, and that's exactly what I did here. The rookie hoe that I enchanted earlier on got me to enchanting 3, which was really nice and gave me a big head start to this skill. But the actual item I had planned out for the speedrun was to enchant this fishing rod, and because I was going to have to fish, and fishing is already a really time-consuming skill, it would have been just that little bit easier if I got Lure 5 and Luck of the Sea 5 on my fishing rod, and after doing so, I ended up getting enchanting level 6, which was really nice and got me started for the fishing skill in this speedrun. I also put telekinesis on my fishing rod, as I pretty much put telekinesis on any tool that I can get my hands on, and even though it wasn't particularly useful, it was still cool to have nonetheless. But I took my fishing rod, my iron hammer, my undead sword, and all the other gear that I had. I ran over to the birch park, and this is where I got started on leveling my fishing skill. Now this is a pretty interesting part of the run, because most of you might be familiar with either barn fishing or just spider's den fishing in general. But because I was an earlier game player, these two options were completely out of the question. Not to mention that even if I was able to do both barn fishing or spider's den fishing, with the gear and the skills that I currently had, there was no way I would stand a chance with any of the sea creatures that other people would be catching, and it also just isn't that beneficial to be catching sea creatures at my level. Now this is where the birch park comes in. While it's not really a popular fishing spot and definitely not ideal for catching sea creatures, it does give you a ridiculous amount of squids, especially if you do buy rain from Vanessa. Now, I didn't have enough money to buy rain, but that doesn't matter because I was still catching a few squids here and there, and I was more focused on actually just getting the treasure drops in general. And sea creatures was pretty much the last thing that I wanted, because while they do give you a lot of fishing XP, they're also really difficult to kill, and my gear was not strong enough to be handling them properly. Either way, I got to fishing level 2 where I unlocked the Sea Walker sea creature, and I kind of thought at first that I was actually going to have to lobby swap in order to despawn them because I wasn't strong enough, but after I caught one, it wasn't actually all that bad. What? Yo, Sea Walker, does it one-tap me? Okay, watch this, guys. I'm pro. Stay back. Why do you, like, hop in the water so much, bro? Why does he hop in the water? He doesn't take knockback. It's fine. I can kill it. Oh my god, don't do that. Die. Okay, we can kill them. It's not ideal, but we can certainly kill those, so I don't have to swap lobbies. And as you can see there, the Sea Walkers didn't really cause much of an issue. I ended up catching a second one in this entire speedrun, which was pretty nice. I didn't really have to deal with any sea creatures at all. And I did catch a few squids, and if I just show you the footage right here, I had a very difficult time actually killing them. The battle of the ages. You're witnessing greatness, glory, true skill. A sign of a fighter right here. Look at me go, bro. It's insane. We did it, boys. 41 XP levels out of that as well. Better gameplay than dungeons all the time, bro. I did manage to kill the squids slowly but surely after quite a lot of effort, and I did find myself heavily relying on just the regular catches and the good catches if I did get any of those. And after reaching fishing 5, I got stuck into foraging almost immediately. I stayed at the birch park for the entire foraging grind, as I didn't really have to go anywhere for any special collections, and I figured it'd be a lot easier if I just mined birchwood because everything gives you the same XP anyway. This grind was pretty self-explanatory. I just chopped wood, and chopped wood, and chopped more wood, until I finally reached Foraging 5, and once I had that done and out of the way, I went back to the hub for the final skill, which actually was the Taming skill. Now this is great. I had this planned out before I even started the speed run, and I figured if I couldn't get my Taming skill to level 5 with any of the other skills that I was leveling, I could always just return to the hub, go farm some wheat, and level up my bee pet until I hit Taming 5, and that's pretty much exactly what I did. I farmed some wheat, and farmed some more wheat, and kept on farming some more wheat, until I was finally on the home stretch, and this is exactly what happened. Yes, that's it. That's it. We did it. We did it, bro. We did it. Is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, it's done. It's done. Easy, bro. Easy. So, well, farming 7, but that's above farming 5. Mining 5. Combat 5. Foraging 5. Fishing 5. Enchanting 6, but still higher than 5. Alchemy 5. And Taming 5, of course. Easy done, bro. That's actually pretty decent, to be honest. And to think that you can do all the other skills as well a lot higher if you wanted to. Like mining, you could get higher in no time at all. Combat would be relatively simple. Foraging's pretty simple as well. It's just like fishing and enchanting, and these ones will come later on in your Skyblock progress. But like, you know, if you're a newer player, that is pretty easy to do. I'm quite happy with that. GG's, boys. GG's. Easy claps. Done. Dusted. Complete. And with all of that being said, that's going to wrap up everything that I did have for today's speedrun. This run was definitely a really fun one to record, and while it was one of my shortest speedruns, I still really liked doing it. The more I do these runs, the more I realize that it's actually really easy to do a lot of the early game stuff, and being a player who is pretty experienced and relatively knowledgeable just in Skyblock in general, I find it really interesting that I can do all these things in relatively short amounts of time. Before I go though, just a quick reminder that if you do like these speedruns and you want to see more of them, I do stream them live over on my Twitch every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The links are down in the description below. But with all that being said, that's going to wrap up everything I did have for today's video. And as always, take care, and peace. I don't want Fortnite. Fortnite. On a real note, where do you put your PC? It's on my desk. That's my PC. On my desk. It's